Yeah, welcome to episode 23. We have Steele on the show.
Very white voice.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're finally meeting in person.
Yeah. So when I used to see you on ESPN, I wasn't in YouTube. I wasn't even in politics. I was just in pretty much sports. And for me to be sitting here, both of us to be sitting here talking to you, I was like, I never envisioned it. Yeah.
Well, I'm honored that you kept trying because I knew who you were a long time. And I was like, look at these two out there. Okay.
Yeah. You was at ESPN for 16 years?
Yes.
Wow. What was that like working there?
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, at first, the reason I sued was based on freedom of speech, honestly. And I was like, I am not apologizing for my opinions.
Right.
Because I stand by them and I always will. You preach diversity and tolerance and inclusion and acceptance. When it comes to the most important one, which I've always said this, I've spoken about this publicly for 15 years, diversity of thought.
Yeah.
That's when you go quiet. And that's when you're like, I love you, Sage, I'm out. Or I hate you,
Right.
Sage, and you disappoint me.
They
The standards
hold
have
you
changed.
to a very high standard on SportsCenter. I wonder why they set such a low bar for Joe Biden. that is so crazy.
Did you plan that segue?
No, it just came right off the cuff. As soon as she said that, I was like, they hold you guys to a high standard. We don't hold these same standards for our president.
Inflation is legit.
It's
And
crazy
we
to eat at
can't-
McDonald's now as a family. So expensive.
Well, you don't
Yeah.
eat it. There's no way you eat it.
My kids eat that garbage. Oh, I eat that garbage.
You do?
Yeah.
Ew. And you stay in shape. Yeah. See, once again, we can't do that. Women can't do that.
Right. Well, you look very fit.
Well, I have to work at it.
Yeah.
I can't go to McDonald's.
Yeah. We
Take care where you say she looks fertile.
Fertile.
young.
You look so vibrant and fertile.
Fertile.
Yeah, welcome to episode 23. We got Steele. Yeah, man, this woman's glowing.
Yes, she is.
But before we get to the show, we gotta talk to y'all about our sponsor. Yeah.
Optimal Human, all-in-one nutritional supplement. Over 90 ingredients. It's good for everything. Lungs, heart, your PP, your vagina, your brain,
Your stomach.
shoulders, your joints.
Your ass. Go to optimalhuman.com/Hodgetwins. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to episode 23. We have Steele on
That's
the
your
show.
very white voice.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm great. I can't believe we're finally meeting in person. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
You
I
know
would
what?
never in my wildest imagination, because when I used to see you on ESPN, I wasn't in YouTube. I wasn't even in politics. I was just in pretty much sports. And for me to be sitting here, both of us to be sitting here talking to you, I was like, I never envisioned it. So,
Yeah.
Well, I'm honored that you kept trying because my
Yeah.
schedule and my brain has been a little bit dead for the last, I've been gone for
Yeah.
almost, 10 months, 11 months from ESPN. And it's just been kind of a whirlwind. But I knew who you were a long time before you knew who I was, I think. Or at
Yeah.
least before we communicated.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was like, look at these two out there. Okay.
Yeah.
But then I had to be super quiet and act like,
Right.
I don't like them.
You're right.
Deep down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you was at ESPN for 16 years?
Yes.
Wow.
What was that like
time.
working there?
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, at first.
It's like a dream job.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was 11 years old when I told my parents I wanted to be a sportscaster.
Oh,
and
really?
Then ESPN was, and we're about the same age. I might be a little older, but we're going to leave it at that. And then I told ESPN was the worldwide leader, right? So
Right,
to
yeah.
me, that was the end all be all. And so to work for 11 years in the local TV regional before getting the job at ESPN, and then 16 there, like that was always the goal. So the fact that I achieved it, a real dream, I'm so grateful, honestly, for everything there.
Yeah.
I have a news clip so I can give our audience some context
Oh,
about
really?
what happened. Of course, it's the left-wing media, so you can clear up whatever they say. But it looks like it was, for the most part, fair
Okay.
on what happened. So,
Let's
but
see.
let's go to that clip real quick.
Another star falls from the ESPN lineup. The latest, Sage Steele. The host is off air after a series of controversial comments she made on race, sexual harassment, and COVID protocols. News Nation's Felicia Bolton is live. So, Felicia, this is the second ESPN anchor woman to come under scrutiny in recent months.
Yes, Nicole, that's right. And it's a tough time for the network. Sage Steele's comments came during an interview on the podcast Uncut with Jay Cutler. She took a shot at President Obama, female journalists, and against ESPN's vaccine mandates. Race, sex, and COVID. 3 hot topics that landed one of ESPN's most popular anchors in the hot seat. The network removed Sage Steele from SportsCenter lineup for a week after a series of comments during an interview with former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler on his show Uncut. From her thoughts on former President Obama's racial identity.
That's his thing. I think that's fascinating considering his Black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, you do you. I'm going to do me.
To suggesting female journalists welcome harassment by the way they dress.
When you dress like that, I'm not saying you deserve the gross comments, but you know what you're doing when you're putting that outfit on, too.
Yeah. And speaking out on ESPN's COVID-19 mandate.
I respect everyone's decision. I really do. Yeah. But to mandate it is sick. And it's scary to me in many ways. But I have a job that I love, and frankly, a job that I need. I don't know what comes next, but I do know for me personally, I feel like defeated.
Steele is now backpedaling after being reprimanded. In a statement, she said, "I know my recent comments created controversy for the company, and I apologize." ESPN released this statement saying in part, "We embrace different points of view. That said, we expect that those points of view be expressed respectfully in a manner consistent with our values and in line with our internal policies."
You know, I looked at those comments she made. You was respectful the entire time, and you couldn't be more respectful.
Yeah, and it wasn't controversial what you said.
Yeah.
I would agree that it was respectful, and thank you. I've always been respectful. Even if you don't like what I'm saying, I do it.
Right.
I was raised right. I try to say it in a respectful way. It was controversial in that what the topics were at that time. I think it's funny. The backtracking part, I guess you could call it that, because I was forced to release a statement. I was forced to apologize.
Right.
If I didn't apologize, I wouldn't have a job.
Right.
So what do you do? And then many people say, well, you caved. I guess I did.
I don't think you caved because you apologized that you caused controversy for your network. You didn't apologize for what you said. I thought you were still very genuine. And
so I'm glad that's actually something important that you noticed. It was definitely a negotiation that night to go back and forth on the wording. And I was like, I am not apologizing for my opinions.
Right.
Because I stand by them and I always will.
Right.
It's funny when we talk about like each of the 3 controversial topics. I mean, in chronological order, the woman one, that was something that I've always said, and I will always stand by. As women, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We are very smart.
Yeah, you know what you're doing with that curly hair you got right now, too.
This is from God. I did not create this. I'm just having to own it, or I don't know how to straighten it. I don't have the anyway.
I wouldn't straighten it.
Yeah.
No,
I would just leave it alone.
Listen, back in the day, this is 20 years ago. I had bosses who were like, can you straighten that? And I was not hired for one job in particular, a dream job at the time, because the producer was like, yeah, she's really good at her job, but her hair. So
really,
yes, and
that's I think that's one of your best attributes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it took me a long time to own it, because if you think about TV on any level, how often now it's different. I'd like to say that's because of me, because I am kidding.
Right,
But
trailblazer.
Back in the day, I mean, no one even. That's why bosses were like, "Can you?" Because not one woman on TV, local, regional, national, wore curly hair. You know there were a lot that had it, but chose to straighten it and go along with the traditional. I call it the anchor bob.
Right, anchor bob.
That's not me.
Right.
And so, then I had 3 little kids, and I didn't have time or energy or money to straighten it. So whatever. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing with what we wear. I have 2 daughters. Okay, we've had many arguments. I'm like, okay, what is your goal for going outside like that?
Right.
And you have a beautiful, curvy body.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Or you can't be surprised when people look at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not
It's
saying
like
it's
a natural reaction.
Of course. And so take that fact. Any woman who disagrees with the fact that we know what we're doing, I'll fight you. And I don't even fight, but I will fight you because that means you're lying. You take that into a locker room.
A bunch of young men.
Yes. Yeah. And again, men, I said it on that podcast, men be better. Be better. Keep your mouth shut. Act
Right.
like you've been there before. Like, we don't have to drool. Like, I don't want to. No.
Yeah,
Right.
but yes.
Like, at the same time, I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it is.
women don't play dumb and be like, oh my God, he made me feel. You did that on purpose. Stop. So I'll stand by that.
Right.
And so when they talk about, women deserving, there were headlines that came out. Sage Steele believes women deserve to be raped because of their clothing. I'm
know.
like,
Yeah,
see?
it's just
yeah.
exaggerations.
Yeah.
Right. So that stuff hurt. The second one was, and order was about Obama and race. And I didn't question his identity. I relayed a story that took place in 2014, live on The View with Barbara Walters. When Barbara Walters asked me why I chose to say biracial instead of black, and she didn't like it.
Right.
And I remember sitting next to her and being intimidated. It's Barbara Walters, you know?
Right.
And for her to say, well, the president, 2014, the president, he's just like you. He's biracial, but he says black. And I said it then, and I said it in 2021, and I'll say it today.
But you know what?
Good for him.
That is a construct from white supremacy. They told black people, if you have a drop of black blood in your body,
That one
you're
drop
black.
rule.
Yeah, that's you're just perpetuating a construct by white supremacy
Yeah.
at that point.
I guess I would have. Guess I wish I had thought of that and realized that at the time. It was live, and it was Barbara Walters, and this is 10 years ago now.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm a different person.
Oh,
now.
we all are.
Now
Yeah.
I would have the courage to say more. I thought what I said was actually, it was just a compliment to my family. Nothing against
right.
Barack Obama.
Right.
It is a fact. He's written a book about it, about his
Yeah.
dad not being there, but his white mother and grandmother raised him. So to me, I don't like it when anybody doesn't. It makes me sad, that's all, for people who don't fully identify with like actually what we are, because I would never exclude my mom because she's white.
Exactly.
Right.
And the joke that I made at the time
Right.
was, I'm pretty sure she was there the day I was born, that white mom of mine.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like my family is a beautiful example of diversity in America.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially because my parents they got married in 1971, coming off the civil rights era. My mom's white Irish Catholic parents from small town Massachusetts disowned her for marrying a black man.
Right.
But what did she do? She's like, screw you. He's a good man and he loves me. And in October, it's going to be 53 years. So to me, that's diversity. That's courage and that's strength. So if
Yeah.
I'm compared to Obama, like Barbara Walters did, which is silly. Don't compare me to. I mean, he's the president. I was some sports journalist. I'm going to be honest, and don't you dare tell me that I'm, well, I've heard it all before then and since then, right? She hates being black, blah blah blah.
That is so
I'm so
old and
proud
tired.
to be
Yeah.
me, and I'm so proud to come from a family that doesn't lead with race. People get mad when you say I don't see color. Obviously, we see it. The point is, I just don't lead with it.
Right.
I lead with how you treat me and how I see you treat others. People I work with who are all good and nice and sweet and professional on camera, but the second that light goes off, how do they treat the teleprompter kid? How do they treat the producers? Or is it just about them and their egos, right? I don't care if you're green. I'm not going to like you.
Right.
So that, I will say, was quite painful with the race stuff.
I think it's great what you did. I think I voted for Obama's first term
Yeah.
because I was still a Democrat. But looking back on it, I think it wasn't genuine when he come out and said he was black because he was raised by his white mom and his grandfather.
And he's biracial.
And he's biracial. And for him to
Yes.
go out and, I understand you identify as being black, but for the neglect your mom and your granddad,
And the
because
people who
without
raised
them, you wouldn't exist.
Yes, it breaks my heart for their sake.
Yeah.
And then what is it teaching? As somebody in that position.
To hate your white side.
Yes, or just to not own who you are. It's funny because now it's fine. Oh, you're a girl today, and you're a boy tomorrow, and you're a cat on Friday.
Right.
So like we can say accept me as I am, unless I say I'm proud of my white mom too, as proud of her as I am of my black dad. So don't like you can't pick and choose.
Do you see that as an attack on white people?
Do I see it as an attack on? Yes.
Yeah.
Directly, indirectly, I guess. But it's also more just an opportunity to call out someone who doesn't go along with your ideals.
Right.
And that's what it was with me, because I had alluded to some things through the years, but I always tried to keep my mouth shut so I could keep my job.
Right.
And keep friends, honestly. And to
I know. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
That's hard, just trying to be something you're not.
it is. And then it takes a toll
Yeah.
until you say enough.
Right.
And I didn't know that would be the time.
You know,
I didn't know that what I said would be wrong. And here's the thing. Because the vaccine stuff, that was a whole other level. At first, that's what Disney ESPN was mad at me for. You crushed the company.
Yes.
I'm like, no, but I complied. That stupid Band-Aid on my shoulder, people thought I did it on purpose. I forgot it was there. I literally had just come from the pharmacy to get the shot that I was required to get to keep my job. That was the last day I was allowed to get it. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be fully vaxxed by September 30th, 2021, and that was Disney's mandate. So I was sobbing. I waited till that day to make the decision. I prayed, and I just asked that when I woke up that morning for God to give me a sign, and he did, and it was, I got you. And so I went and did it, but I was emotional. I was mad at myself.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed that I
scared,
caved.
too.
I was scared. I was all of it. So I waited till the last second, and then I sprinted back, and it was September. It was still nice out. So I had the short sleeves on. I sprinted back, and I opened my laptop, and I got on the podcast. And Jay's like, so what's that? I was like, he asked, can I ask about it? I was like, sure. I mean, it's there. Like, I don't care. But that's why they were initially so mad at me. That's why I got suspended. But then they also brought up, well, you crushed Obama. I'm like, did I?
Did
No,
No.
you called him out for being fake.
Well,
he
that wasn't
was
my
only black
intent.
because his for political gain, really.
Well, I agree with that.
That's why I voted
and the
for him.
why behind it.
Yeah.
And so did a lot of my family members. Especially my, she's gone now, but my grandmother at the time was like 94. So she's born in whatever year, in the teens, 20s, 19. And so she had seen it all and been through it all and never thought America would get to the day to see a black man. So I understood that. And
Same
was
thing with my
happy
mom.
to see. I just thought he was the wrong black man for me. That's all.
Right.
That's all it
Right.
was. But for him to not identify with both sides, there's millions of people like me who are biracial.
Right.
And not just black, white, but all different kinds of biracial. And I think it would have been, it's a missed opportunity, those 8 years he was in office, and even today, to say to all those kids who are told that they're not enough.
Yep.
They're not black enough. They're certainly not white enough, because when you see me and you don't know me, you think, well, you wouldn't say, oh, who's that white girl with curly hair?
Right.
That's not what you're going to say. Fine. But like, what an opportunity that was to tell all those kids, you are enough and you are beautiful, just like you are, just how God made you, and just based on the decision your parents made. And I believe he sold out in that way. And that could have helped a bunch of biracial kids like me who didn't feel like they were enough. So you're damn right I'm going to stand by this now.
Right.
Absolutely. And then my ex-husband is white. So I'm half white, half black. He's all white. My kids look Italian. I was asked if I was the nanny. And
my mom got that.
the nanny thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that broke me when I was a young mother.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, bitch, no, I pushed her out.
Yeah.
No, like she's mine. And I was so proud. So I think
That is crazy, because my mom used to tell us stories, because my dad is really light.
Yeah.
And she would like be taking us out, and white people say, how much do you charge?
stop
When
it.
we were babies, I had red hair and I had the bluest eyes.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
You guys, I need a picture. You must have been
Yeah.
the most beautiful babies.
We don't have many pictures. We was poor as hell. We had a couple of pictures.
Well, you turned out okay, and you're still pretty, so it's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
I think, and I don't. I'm so sad that it came to that.
Yeah.
I loved that company. I sacrificed a lot for that place, and they gave me so much too.
Yeah.
So I hate that it had to end that way, but I also know that, like, I wouldn't change a thing. I would still stand up in all three of those ways. I think the Obama thing was so funny, though, because that was 2021. I said it in 2014, live on ABC, which is also owned by Disney, and they were fine with it then. So I didn't get any pushback when I spoke up to Barbara Walters.
Wow.
But I did years later. So it just speaks to how much the country has changed,
Right.
and
There
the
you go.
timing of things.
So
you
they
know?
was looking to get rid of you.
I think there had been some people behind the scenes
Look-
who were.
Look what happened to the football coach for the Raiders. They dug up old emails. He said something like, and it wasn't even racist.
That was John Gruden.
Yeah, John Gruden. Yeah,
I'm trying to
He's
remember.
called
his-
somebody rubber lips.
yeah, because you can't. That's a figure of speech.
Well, that's
You
a
can't-
black guy.
Yeah.
You calling him rubber lips?
Don't do that, Coach.
Well, here's a figure of speech.
Yeah.
that you can't trust what he says.
Yeah. And it was like
It might be racial
it
insensitive,
was like
but
email
yeah.
to a private party. And,
Yes, and by the way, I've been at a lot of those practices for years in the NFL and the NBA. And oh, by the way, college basketball, where they're closed. But let me tell you what goes on behind the scenes with those, with some of the most professional, well-respected coaches that have ever lived.
Right.
The way they talk to their players. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I would never excuse any truly racist comment.
Right.
But I also don't agree with trying to go back and dig deep to find ways to cancel people.
Right.
The reason I sued was based on freedom of speech, honestly. And people say, "Oh, you're so stupid. That's not what the Constitution covers." I'm like, no, I know that this is there. There is actually a statute in the state of Connecticut where ESPN headquarters is and where I live, where you can criticize your employer as long as you're complying. If your employer punishes you for any reason, that's actually illegal. So that's what it was based on, is the state law in Connecticut, not First Amendment constitutional that people. So people come at me like that. I'm like, well, if you actually read the lawsuit or read any part of it, you would know that it was based on what they did in the state of Connecticut.
And you won that lawsuit, right?
We settled. We settled last August. But it was based on that / the double standard at ESPN for letting my peers go on ESPN platforms and airwaves and on their personal social media, but on ESPN airwaves and give their political opinions and give their stance on the vaccine and all of those things.
Right.
Mine was on a separate podcast on a day off, my own personal experiences
Right.
versus them doing it on ESPN platforms, and it was fine. Which one is it? You can't say some are allowed to speak their views and others are not. Based on what? Like if I had gotten on that podcast with Cutler and said, listen, no offense, Jay, I don't know how you feel about this vaccine, but you anti-vaxxers, you are, if I'd ripped them
you've been
or
praised.
said, no offense to my white mom, I love you, but I am black. I would have been celebrated for that.
Yeah.
And women should be able to wear whatever the hell they want with everything hanging out.
Right.
I would have been celebrated. But because I said the opposite of what, woke America thinks, corporate America, Disney, so many corporations, they crushed me. And it was just enough. So all of a sudden, this shy little girl, I'd been shy and scared to upset anybody my whole life.
Right.
And
That changed me, and I was like, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah. You took a very moderate approach. You was like right down the middle. You wasn't hard right or hard left. You just spoke truth.
I
common
spoke my
sense.
truth.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what mattered.
Yeah.
Is for us to be able to speak our own truth and what matters to us, because we all have unique experiences. Our experiences shape our opinion on everything, on politics, you know? So I disagree big time with a lot of people in my family and a lot of good friends of mine, but I love them as humans, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference.
I find people so tribal when it comes to politics. Like I would never disown somebody because they Joe Biden supported, but I have people in my family who's disowned me because I support President Trump. It just doesn't.
Have
make
you had
sense.
conversations with them about it?
I just
since?
turned it off. I mean, they even created a whole Facebook page. My
Your
family.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of my cousins went there and sent them straight and they deleted it, but it's all about George Floyd, and I ain't even get
Well,
into
they didn't want to tell the truth and then hear the truth about George Floyd either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That still has been kind of minimized, especially compared to how it began.
Yeah, exactly.
We just gave away the cheap Rubicon. The good old Imp. Good dude, man. Good dude. He making families great again. Yeah, hey, this is your last chance. Yeah. Time is running out. The Dodge Power Wagon and the camper and the $10,000 in cash. And if you enter right now, you get 10 times the interest. But I want to show y'all the new giveaway. Yeah. Oh man, we're really gonna be your two favorite black guys after you see this. Man, you walk too slow. Shut up. win Dixieland with our giveaway. Give it away. A little Southern pride. We give away a General Lee 1969 Dodge Charger 426 Hemi. It's a lot of Hemi. Signed by Richard Petty. It's got Bo and Luke Duke's autograph in there. If you enter right now, you get 10 times the interest to win this. Yeah, and the Power Wagon. Both come with $10,000 in cash. And the camper. Well, I forgot about the camper. It's a nice touch, right? Yeah. Now I gotta ask you, who's your favorite two black guys? Go to VentureHardTwins.com. Anything you buy on the site gets you automatically into the win. Yeah.
No purchase necessary. Boardware prohibited. See official rules for details.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to touch on about what you said about women can wear. It's like, I mean, I think you're totally right in what you said.
Yeah.
Because I don't see like unattractive women working at ESPN, especially when you were there. Like everybody was like attractive. They knew what they were doing. They were very competent at their job, and they were all great, but they were also attractive. Yeah. And then when you combine the part where they dress like, you know, tight form and tight clothing, it's like if I was there and I like just compliment a woman, and she takes it the wrong way, that's sexual harassment.
It is now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can totally understand where you're coming
I
from.
could see me working in a mailroom at ESPN. It's like, man, that Sage, man, she's got the perfect tan. You're like, hey, who's the creep in the mailroom? Right. You know?
Well, it's funny because I actually had bosses who were like, hey, can you talk to so-and-so about what she's wearing? Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, that's on you. You guys are allowing it. You guys are the ones that aren't having difficult conversations. And this is years ago. This is 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I wore tight clothes at times. My key was every outfit is different on different people. Our bodies are different.
Right.
You have to remember that on ESPN, on SportsCenter in particular, you are standing up. You are walking and talking. So you have to think about every camera angle and how it's going to look. Even if it looks one way in person, it's going to look different on camera. You ready? When I was married, I would always be super sensitive about it. Because, listen, clothing matters on TV. It does. It didn't before when we were all sitting behind a desk and then you'd wear your shorts and flip-flops on the bottom. But head to toe now, it always matters. And I did a 2-hour live SportsCenter. And so we'd be up and about and all over. But I would if there was a dress or something I had a question about, it's like, is this too fitted? Is it whatever? I'd put it on. I'd ask my husband. And I thought his opinion, he would be honest because he wants me to be comfortable and own my style. Or, excuse me, we're not married. He wanted. Now I don't. I'll leave that alone. Now he's like. But back then when he liked me, he was, you know, I just respected his opinion. I wanted his opinion as my husband. And I thought if he approved this dress that was a little fitted, but it was longer. Right. I think you can find out, you can.
It's a fine
I
balance.
always say don't do both. Don't do tight and short.
Yeah.
Do one.
It's a bad combination.
You know what I mean? If you want to maintain professionalism and right or wrong, credibility, because it does matter. And I wanted people to listen to what I'm saying, and take the story from the highlight that we created, and listen to the questions I'm asking Adam Schefter, who I just absolutely love, or so many of the other good people that work there, or an athlete that I might be interviewing. I want you to listen to this because my job is to bring you the story. But if you're distracted by me hanging out, that takes away from the credibility. Is it fair, women to men? No. But like, you guys have to wear a suit. It is what it is. We had to be more creative, and it isn't always easy. But we always know when you look in the mirror, don't play dumb.
Yeah.
We know.
Right.
Like most of the audience for ESPN is mostly men, right?
Yeah, but women, oh my gosh, just in the last decade, especially with, if you look at the numbers with fantasy football in the NFL, it's half are women.
Oh, really?
Those numbers have skyrocketed, and I love it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I think that's the assumption, especially when you look at college football. But women sports fans it's a massive number.
Yeah, I see like a woman's looks is a talent, personally, and I think ESPN invited like the women, especially the ones standing up, to dress a certain way, because men I'm telling you, men are just very narrow-minded. Oh, I can't wait to watch Sage Steele to see what she's wearing. It's just that's just the
But
way
at the
men
end of the day,
are.
I might look good, but if I didn't make sense and do a good job and
No,
look
exactly.
like a deer in headlights,
Yeah.
especially on SportsCenter,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have lasted very long.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I would get, a ton of criticism if I mispronounced a name on an NHL highlight. It was hard. It was the hardest one.
Oh, yeah,
every
hell
time.
yeah. Those
Russians
days.
and Czechoslovakian, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I would pay special attention because it matters. I need to be getting all that right.
Yeah.
But
They
the
hold
standards
you
have
to
changed.
a very high standard on SportsCenter. I wonder why they set such a low bar for Joe Biden. that is so crazy.
Did you plan that segue?
No, it just came right off the cuff. As soon as you said that, I was like, they hold you guys to a high standard. We don't hold these same standards for our president.
Yeah, they do, but they don't. They're inconsistent with those standards at ESPN and at
Right.
networks as well. I mean, look at the industry as a whole. They are lying to your face
Right.
on almost every network.
You interviewed him, right?
I did.
How did that go?
It was like a month or two after he took over office. So this is 2021, and
They didn't prep questions, like approved questions or anything like that, did they? Because that recently came to light that, hey, you're going to ask these questions and only these questions.
I was given a very specific
Really?
list of questions.
Yeah, of course. That guy's a dead man walking.
But I don't know if the questions that were scripted to the word. I don't know if they were done by ESPN executives or the White House or a combination. I don't know.
When I look at that man and I hear these stories, I don't think he's running our country. He's definitely not on his Twitter feed.
Yeah.
No, but he hasn't been doing that for years, I don't think. So that day, 3.5 years ago, I was chit-chatting with him before the interview began. It was taped.
Oh, okay.
And it was gonna run on the 6 p.m. SportsCenter, which I hosted at the time.
Okay.
And so we taped it a couple hours earlier.
Yeah.
And
So this wasn't live.
no, this was not live. Definitely not. But it was interesting because before it started, you say, hi, nice to meet you, welcome. I do that with everybody. And
Right.
then I'm like,
Right.
hi, Mr. President. I'd never done that before. I mean, it was an honor,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I might not have voted for him, but I was still going to be honored to speak with him.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had a job to do, even though I didn't have much to say about the job I was doing because I had to ask those specific questions. So, but before it started, chit chat, there were some technical issues. And so I was having to fill time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to fill time with the commander in chief.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could hear him, but they had a black sheet covering the camera, so I couldn't see him until that moment.
Oh, they don't want no hot mics or anything looking
The
crazy.
mic was hot, but then
Yeah.
the camera, they don't need that. So it was weird to be talking to somebody, but then I couldn't see him, but I could see the sheet, the black sheet kind of moving.
Yeah.
And then we started to talk about football. He was, before we started, he's like, yeah, I played football in college. I was like, yeah, I know it, Delaware, right? He's like, yeah, because I was a wide receiver. I'm like, I know. He's like, I had good hands. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, that's very helpful as a receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know what to say. Since then, you're like, oh, I'm glad that it was then and not now. You know what I mean? But he was polite. He was fine.
Yeah.
The one question that I had to ask that we didn't have, because we lost time with the technical issues. I didn't have time to follow up. I don't know if I would have been allowed to. I don't know. But it was right before the Major League Baseball game was being taken out of Atlanta, if you recall.
Oh, yeah.
I
I
remember
that.
that. Yeah.
I remember that.
Because of the racist voter ID laws.
Yeah.
Right.
Because black people aren't smart enough to remember to bring an ID to vote, apparently. Or water, because they'll die.
Yeah, that's right. But he's stroking the line.
It's so racist.
Yeah.
So racist. So I said, would you be okay if Major League Baseball decided to move? And he went on about the racist voter laws. And it sucked. I had to sit there quietly because I wanted to, as a woman of color,
As a journalist,
say,
yeah.
tell me what's racist about that.
Yeah.
Please tell me, because it does. We are not smart enough to know what you need to bring to
Right.
vote. That is the most insulting. Is that me? I'm sorry. I thought I turned this off. No, that's you.
I don't know. I think that might be Joe.
Is that Joe?
Is that the producer's phone?
Joe? No, sir. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Hey,
Probably my mom.
Oh, it's next door. You know what, Sage? We had RFK Jr. on here. We asked him about that. And he said, yeah, it really disenfranchised a lot of black people because they don't have IDs. I was like, should these people really be voting in our country if they can't maintain an ID?
What, did you ask him that? Did you follow up? What did he say?
Yeah, he started laughing.
Didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
No, because it's so easy to go along with some of these lies to try to bring in certain voters with that low-hanging fruit. Racist.
Yeah. Right.
Just stop. I interviewed him too.
I
a couple
saw
of
that.
months ago.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it. I interviewed his.
I like him
as
as a person. He seems like a genuine good guy. But
yeah, I liked him too.
Yeah.
A lot of people said he should have been on that debate stage in Atlanta. I never thought he should have been, only because I said no. America needs to see Joe Biden,
right,
and that would have taken away.
Yeah,
You know, 50-50 right. It would have been 33-33. And there wouldn't have been as much focus on Joe Biden. And because I think most of us who have a brain knew there are some issues coming in.
Yeah.
And that would have taken away. So I hope he does get on a stage at some point. I know he got a ton of eyeballs that day doing his own debate, which is very creative, the way that they did that for him, because he does have a lot of good ideas and good points. And the fact that they won't give him Secret Service or anything.
That's god awful.
Yeah, it's too bad. But I enjoyed listening to someone with a different viewpoint. We talked about abortion, and that got a little hot.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that I thought his response was kind of weird. Like at 9 months, a woman should be able to have the right to do that. I'm like, at that point, why don't she just have the baby or have a C-section and just
Emergency C, that's what I said.
Yeah, give a fuck.
Well,
Why is it
he just
abortion?
kept pushing. He just said government should never have a say in women's and I said, I understand that. Does that mean up until birth?
Yeah.
He didn't want to answer. And then I said it again.
finally
And
got
then
him to
finally
say
he
it.
said yes. And I was like,
that is weird because my daughter, my firstborn, was premature. She was born at 7.5 months. She could breathe on her own and everything. She was in the hospital maybe 2 weeks, and we took her home at 7.5 months.
that's why it's sick.
Yeah.
It's absolutely sick and never, ever, ever, ever necessary.
Yeah.
If a woman's life is in danger, what do? You cut that baby out so fast.
C-section.
An emergency C, they can have a baby out in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
An abortion,
That's
I know.
crazy.
Why don't they recognize that?
no, but they do.
Yeah.
They're choosing to ignore it because most people aren't going to have this basic conversation and be like, wait a minute, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they just say things that that's low-hanging fruit that people say, oh my God, you're right. Just like, oh my God, you're racist.
Yeah, and women, some women, a lot of women that vote Democratic, they think that empowers them.
Yeah, I don't
some
know
reason.
why. I think there's a lot of, it's deep. It's a lot of history with that. But you go to that abortion topic and it immediately is my body, my choice. And of course, then you go to the vaccine and I'm like, but wait, you're the one that told me I'm a sellout or I'm putting
Right.
your daughter in danger because,
Right.
so listen, there's so much hypocrisy. I will say with that abortion thing that aired on a Wednesday, my show, and then on Friday, he came out with a statement saying, I have since learned that late-term abortions do happen and there should be a limit. And I'm like,
Right.
you knew that before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have all these red flag laws for people with guns. We have no red flag laws for women. What woman in her right mind will walk in a hospital and say, I changed my mind at 8, 9 months?
The problem is it happens.
Yeah, that's a detriment on that woman, not the baby.
Well, it says a lot about that woman. And quite often there's drugs involved,
Right. Yeah.
abuse involved. I mean, the situations that women are in at times are absolutely devastating. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the same time, that's still a life.
Yeah.
This is how I viewed it. And as a mother of 3, I think I probably would have felt this way anyway. But something in you changes when you go for your first ultrasound upon learning you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like 6 weeks pregnant when I went for my first one, I think. And on that, so this is in 2001. And I'll never forget looking at the monitor to my right and seeing the 4 chambers of the heart beating.
Yeah.
The nurse said the baby was about the size of a piece of rice.
Yeah.
But there were 4 chambers of a heart beating right there.
Right.
So that is life. I understand there's a lot more that goes into it from there.
Right.
But once you see that, how can you deny that it is alive? Sometimes we're more concerned about the wildflowers in the median than we are, and the trees, than we are about what is obviously a life. And your 7.5-month-old daughter, when she was born, 7.5 months. So
7.5 months.
So what? A month and a half premature.
And we were so scared that we're like, I didn't know if she was going to be able to breathe, if she was going to survive. And no, she could breathe and everything.
Yeah. And it's different for every person. And I understand that. But let's just not deny the facts.
Yeah.
And people just deny it because it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
And
For that narrative.
It's like people just, like I know I'm Republican. They might be more often out there liberal, but you got to stop rooting for your team and just use common sense. You got to go with what's right and not what's wrong because you're rooting for your team. People are so tribalistic, it's like they just forget what's right and wrong.
they vote with their emotions and peer pressure, for sure.
Right.
I know a lot of people, people that you know that are on TV every single day, who say one thing but believe another, and even vote different ways, actually, but are afraid to say it.
Yeah.
And I get why.
I got to ask, is it Stephen A. Smith?
No, Stephen A. pretty much puts his
He's being attacked because the BET Awards they celebrated O.J. Simpson. So black people's attacking him. Right? Have you came across that yet?
What?
Yeah, Stephen A's got a podcast, and we don't have to really, and the BET Awards celebrated O.J. Simpson. And he had some words for that. It's like, that's not a bad look. You shouldn't be celebrating a man who got away with murder.
Double murder.
Yeah. That's just common sense.
Who celebrates O.J. Simpson?
BET Awards.
Just stop it.
And he was only black when he was going through court. That's the only time he walked around and claimed he was black. But
I can't.
You know what? To paint something.
I didn't know that. I will say
He's been attacked over that.
Stephen A's been attacked over criticizing BET. That's what you're saying?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, good on Stephen A. for doing it. Hopefully he doesn't retract.
Right.
Because he has retracted on other things, other criticisms. Hope he doesn't retract this one because it's
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with him because sometimes I'm like, man, you're right, and you're right, and then all of a sudden he just goes total left. I'm like, what happened? It's like I don't know if he's
well.
like.
I think it. Listen, I think it's good if you're looking at each issue and not just going all right or all left. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just very inconsistent when some of the issues actually are similar.
That's what drives me crazy, the inconsistency.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I get that. I agree. I agree. I think he's. I will say he's brilliant.
I think he's very intelligent.
Very
He's brilliant.
smart, such a hard worker.
And for him to get where he got from where he's from, you got to be an objective person.
Yeah.
Sometimes in my heart, I feel like he's not being objective. He has
should ask to
people
have
who
him
has. Yeah, I should. Yeah.
You should. You should be interesting. I mean, he goes on Fox News. He goes on with Hannity, and he likes a lot of those conservative guys. It's funny they let him do all that.
Yeah.
And then like Sage Steele. So, but he. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
But he also, listen. He again. He's such a hard worker. He does so much.
Yeah.
I miss things like that. You know, especially at the NBA Finals, I would have him on my show every day on SportsCenter because it was always on the road, and. You know, sometimes we forget the camera's there, and you just are listening, and you're talking, and I'd be like, "What did you just say about Draymond Green? What?" Like we'd argue, and it was fun,
Right.
And but I will say it's also been nice. Like I didn't know how much of an escape I needed, a break I needed from sports, everything. So for 28 years, that was my career. 28 years, it was like every statistic and just go crazy on it.
Right.
And now I'm like, the first full NBA game I watched this year.
Oh, really?
Game 7, Pacers, Knicks, Eastern Conference semis.
Oh,
Game
really?
7.
I gave up NBA a long time.
But a lot of people have. But that was my life. I used to come here to Vegas.
I used to love watching
Summer
NBA.
League. I mean, this
Yeah.
was my thing, and I loved it all. And now, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I still love a lot of the people,
Yeah.
but the product is not.
They're so I mean it's just that term woke. I mean we throw it around so much. It went so woke during the Black Lives Matter riots and
Yeah.
the
That's when I
George
turned
Floyd.
the TV
That's
off.
when I turned it off, and it's like I can't watch it because I'm supporting people who are like literally will vote for the left side. I think that's eventually going to destroy this country.
They're trying.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job of it. And most of the people that speak up in the NBA, I don't think are fully aware of the topics and are fully educated on what they're saying.
Right.
As I say, get all the facts, put your emotions aside.
That's the hard part.
And then state your opinion. But when you give your opinion based on some talking point that someone else told you or on Twitter or Instagram, then you're going to go, you lose me.
You know, you know what I think would help the black community when it comes to being objective? If everybody went blind and you just heard both sides, you couldn't see if the other person was black or white. You just heard their ideas. There's no way they would be Democrats. There is no way. I mean, they wouldn't support all these policies like transgenderism and competing against women in sports. And you hear these laws about you can't vote unless you voter ID laws are racist. It's like it doesn't make any sense. And these people are not stupid, but they believe it because it comes from a Democrat. It comes from another black person's mouth, and that's why they believe it.
It's that race card, too. It's very powerful with black people.
If somebody besides Donald Trump was saying what Donald Trump is saying, they'd love him.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if he was black.
I think, honestly, I think so. If it was anyone else's name besides Trump's in there, but he's saying what he's saying, not everything, but on the major issues, especially when it comes to the border and national security and Ukraine and China and North Korea. And are you kidding me?
What really hurts Trump, though, he's go overboard. Like, I watched Rihanna in a Super Bowl. Amazing performance. She had
She was pregnant.
She was pregnant. I couldn't have did that. I'd have passed out on those scalpels. I'd have failed to my death. Trump goes to Twitter. That was the worst performance I've ever seen in my life. I was like, come on. You didn't have to do that. But they've been beefing for years. Yeah. Him and Rihanna.
It's so funny. And he just, I mean, he can't help it. And I know the people around him sometimes are like, oh, please don't. He will not listen.
Yeah.
He does not care.
Yeah. Right.
Part of me loves that.
Yeah.
Because he has not changed. He won't change.
Right.
Look, everybody, inflation is out of control, and this problem's only going to get worse. That's why me and Kevin are always diversifying our assets. That's the kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion we like.
Yeah.
The value of silver, gold has been steadily rising, while the value of the American dollar has been falling. Because what? Inflation. Because our government sucks. Now, y'all, purplebar.com is changing the game, making it easy for all of us to protect our financial futures. Look how cool these gold and silver bars are. Patriotic engraving on there, too. Look real nice. The bars are perforated so they can easily break apart and can be conveniently exchanged if the dollar collapses. Go to purplebar.com and use promo code Hodgetwins and you get 5% off gold bars. And you get 10% off silver bars. Yeah.
So recently, I'll just say recently, I dropped on the Sage Steele show on YouTube.
Okay.
And wherever you get your podcasts, I'm learning all the lingo. I'm not
Oh,
good.
you're doing great.
Like and subscribe. I'm learning. Laura Trump. And I went to Trump Tower in New York to talk
I saw
to her.
that, yeah.
And
That was a great view.
right?
It was
I was
amazing
like,
view.
is this where you come to work every day?
Right.
Like I try not to be in New York City, but when I'm here, I'm like, it was beautiful. And she was so kind. Yeah. But I think it was just really cool to talk to her and get her perspective because listen, he is who he is. And they've obviously all had conversations with him
right.
many
They
times.
gave up.
Like, why? It's like we did so great on this.
Yeah.
Just don't tweet.
Yeah.
Bam, done. And he can't, like, he just can't help it.
Yeah.
And I also believe that's why he got elected in 2016.
Right.
Too, because he was the opposite, the antithesis of, a decent
I think
politician.
a lot of people like it's just some things we could go without. It would help
For
him.
sure.
Yeah.
It
Being
would
the
help
man
him.
he is.
He's just so genuine and sincere. He's actually on his Twitter.
Yeah.
He's on all the social media.
Everyone
He's
else
doing
has
that.
someone else posting it.
Yeah.
Actually, what was I going to say about that? What did you just say? How he's genuine and...
Yeah, on Twitter, and it's him, and it's his words. And
Yeah, shoot. I
some of the things we can go without.
Yeah, shoot. I'll come back because it was something that Laura said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think oh, here it is.
Here it is. Take it back.
This better be good, right? She said, he doesn't have to do this.
Right.
Well, how does this benefit him?
exactly.
It does not. It hurts him. There's no other president that has left office with less money in their pocket compared to when they
That's amazing.
went into office.
Right.
That's amazing.
And especially because, and then look at now and look at all the legal stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been easier, much easier, and probably smarter for him after 2020 to let that go.
Yeah.
Even though I don't believe it was a fair election. He obviously does not either. It would have been easier for him to let it go.
Yeah.
And cheaper.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, because he said, hell no, I love this country, I'm going to fight. This is why they came after him. This is why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's a great point. Why? If you don't have to do something, you're not doing it for the money.
Right.
He could go to one of his 56 different properties around the country and the world.
Right.
And he could golf and he could do all the things. But he cares that much. Is he a narcissist? Yes. What politician isn't?
Right.
They all are, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not good people.
Right.
But yes, he's about himself, whatever. But he's also about
Especially
others.
to be a billionaire, you have to have that sentiment.
You
To
gotta
get
have
in that position in your life to be a billionaire, you got to be
Oh
about.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I just thought that was a great point. He doesn't have to do this.
Yeah.
But when you see how our country is going, where it's heading, who else is going to do it?
Right.
Who else is going to step up and help? And he's got all these grandkids, and like it's for his family as well as for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it imperfect? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Who is
I totally give him a pass. I totally give him a pass.
I just shake my head and laugh, and it's like, okay, just fix this, just do this.
Right.
And when people question, I ask this quite often. I'm sure you do too. Give me one good thing that Joe Biden has done in this country. One good change in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, how about the black community? Tell me how the black community in some of your, inner cities, whether it's D.C., New York, Atlanta, any of them.
Right.
How Chicago, Obama's place. How is that better? Since Obama, since 2008.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
So when it comes down to the bottom line of Americans being able to afford to feed their families at a reasonable rate, but still take a vacation, buy
Right.
the car they want because they're working hard. You know what I mean? And inflation is legit. I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing okay. So if I,
It's crazy.
yes.
It's
and
crazy
we
to eat at
can't-
McDonald's now as a family.
You, like,
So expensive.
it's comical how expensive it is for those meals, whatever the meals are. I haven't gone in years. Well, you don't
Yeah.
eat it. There's no way you eat it at
My
McDonald's.
kids eat that garbage.
Oh,
all
I
the
eat
time.
that garbage. I eat that garbage.
You do?
Yeah.
Ew. And you don't have to like run to the restroom 10 minutes
Well, I
later.
feel it later. I get heartburn. I was like, I'm too old to be eating this crap.
Yeah.
You know?
And you do it anyway, and you stay in shape. Yeah. See, once again, we can't do that. Women can't do that.
Right. Well, you look very fit.
Well, I have to work out. I
Yeah.
can't go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And thank you, but I have to
Right.
go. It sucks to have to work so hard,
Right.
and because you don't have to deal with all the hormones, and I
Right.
got menopause going on here.
Oh,
It's
you
a
do?
whole I mean, it's the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
think my wife's going through that.
yeah.
I ain't gonna bring that up.
You just did. Tell her she's not alone.
I don't. Well, she's 48. Should we talk about this? Fuck it.
It's fine.
Yeah, she's
But
48.
some women start much earlier than that.
Yeah. What's it like?
Well, see, I think my
sucks.
wife's going through it. She had a period, right? And it's like a couple drops and it's gone, but she's cramping like crazy. I don't know if
Everything
that's what it
changes.
is. Yeah.
Everything changes. Your hair starts to fall out more. The hot flashes are legit.
What is that
Mine
like?
aren't bad.
A hot
Like,
flash.
and I love being hot. I love Vegas weather. I love the desert. So I'm moving to Florida in like 2 months. Like I from Connecticut to Florida. I'm all about the heat. I'll never
Yeah.
complain. I complain about this.
Really?
It's like all of a sudden you feel like you're dripping wet. It's like I'm getting out of
Really?
the shower.
Wow.
But I'm like sweating and it's bad. It's not often for me. Some women have it bad.
Yeah.
But when I do, I'm like, oh my God, someone help me. Like it
Yeah.
almost makes me panic.
Yeah, but when I think of menopause, I'm ignorant when it comes to women's bodies and their hormones. But when I look at you, that's the last thing I'm thinking about is, oh, she might be going through menopause. You look so very young. When I think of menopause, I think like grandma.
No. There are
that's
women
not-
who are 40 going through it, 45.
Wow.
Yes,
crazy.
but we can't, we're not going to get sympathy from you. It's
Right.
good. I mean, at least at this point, like, listen, I'll be 52 in November.
Yeah, we'll be
So,
50. This
you'll be 50.
September?
November.
Okay, we September.
Hey, well, you say she looks fertile.
Fertile.
Young. Like you
Yeah,
can
fertile.
have kids.
He didn't
like
say
kids.
fertile. He said young.
Fertile. I mean, that's what he meant by you look so vibrant and fertile. And,
Fertile. No.
Yeah?
That ship sailed a long. My youngest is 18.
Wow.
They're 18, 20, and 22.
yeah, my
So
youngest.
no.
Yeah.
I am out, and
Yeah.
I am excited to start over. She's going to college in August. My other two are going to be a junior and senior in college. And it's just me. I'm single, so empty nest. No, I don't need babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be one of those geriatric patients. And they put me on bed rest after 2 weeks, and then but what? That means I'd have some young husband who's then is going to dump me. Yeah. Because my body's not going to bounce back like it used to. Like no.
Right.
Hey, I want to talk about your early life. You
don't want to talk about being fertile and hot flashes anymore? I don't know why. Why would you want to change the subject? Right. Please, let's go. Can't believe we went there.
Man, I don't know what to say. I've never felt. You keep it all this in, right?
Yeah. I did not prepare for that. Okay, what about my dad?
Yeah, he's like, man, it's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Yeah, very beautiful story. Part of American history.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
He's my person. He's my and my mom. I talk to them every day. Yeah. So you want me to give
your
a
mom and
summary
dad.
of it?
Yeah.
My dad, I told you before, they've been married almost 53 years, and they are my everything. They're 78 and almost 75, and still, pinch each other on the ass and are just
that's
their
beautiful.
goals.
Yeah.
Like, well, if I get married again, can I do those 20 years plus whatever else? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll never match them, but maybe combined if I can. It's too late. My dad broke the color barrier at West Point. He was the first black man ever to play varsity football at Army.
Wow.
If you think about that, it's crazy when you
What
look
year
at
was that?
1966. So you think about any football team.
That's doing Jim Crow, right? When did Jim Crow?
All that.
66?
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the middle of all of it, right? And if you look at a picture, so there's this story, a video that's posted on my, it's pinned on my Twitter, my X. It's been there for 6 or 7 years. And NFL Films did a beautiful job telling the story of their relationship, but how it began with my dad in West Point. And on it, there's a picture that they show of my dad's football team that year. And it's a sea of white faces. There's one black face right in the middle. And it's my dad.
And it's your dad.
It's my daddy-o. But look at how football teams have changed now.
Right.
You have like 3 white guys, right? It's like, who's that
Right.
white guy? What? He must be
he
Christian
must be really
McCaffrey.
good. Yeah.
He must be fast and whoa. Or he must be the quarterback, right?
Right, exactly.
Otherwise, my dad again never made it about race. He had great teammates. Did he know he was different? Of course. Did he stand out? Yeah. He also stood out because he was 6'6.5", 220 pounds as a tight end in the mid 60s. That was a big man back then. It is
them
now.
white boys scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the video is so cool because that shows some highlights, and he was bigger than everybody and taller, and he also ran track. He was an incredible athlete. So my dad always talks about how it just isn't about race for him. And he said with that, yes, it's an honor, and you were the first. He's like, but I didn't ask to. I just want to play football. He goes, somebody had to be first.
Right.
It just happened to be me. And that's true.
Yeah.
And that's how he has guided us is, okay, so you look a little bit different. That's where God placed you. It doesn't change the way you speak to people. Hopefully it doesn't change the way they treat you. If it does, let's discuss, But that's the beauty of sports, by the way.
Right.
Is sports
It brings us everybody
people
together.
That's why when I was 11, I wanted to be in this field because I just couldn't believe that on a Sunday, an NFL Sunday, right? Everybody for 3 hours was on the same team, rooting for each other, cussing out the other team, whatever it was. It's like we're all in it together, and you're high-fiving people you're sitting next to.
Yeah. Race doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's why sports is so beautiful to me. And I felt that at a young age. That comes probably from my dad and his athletic career.
Yeah, and I think he instilled a lot of that in you because if I've seen some of my friends and family grow up in a black neighborhood. We actually grew up in a poor white neighborhood, but growing up in a black neighborhood and only seeing that side of it, you have such a narrow sense of the world.
Yeah, it puts you in a box.
Yeah, it puts you in a box. I mean, luckily we grew up in a white neighborhood, so we had white friends and we had black friends, and we got to see both. But what's funny about that is a lot of our black friends seen us as being like biracial, even though both our parents are black. And they would,
You were light.
yeah, because we're light skinned. And it was like, no, you're not
You got
black.
the light skin, you got the light eyes.
Yeah,
and then
they would say, no, you're not black. They would tell us that.
Yeah. I was like, fine by me. They want to be black anyway.
No, you didn't. That's terrible.
He's always joking. He doesn't.
No, you didn't.
I'm just joking, Sage.
Fine by me.
I say a lot of stuff piss off black people, but I'm joking.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. But but because of your skin color and your eyes, just like me with my hair,
Right.
Yeah.
then you're different. And then
You're
I'm
not
told,
black.
yeah, you're told you're not black, or oh, you think you're better because I'm like, of course I don't. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
say that. I would never say that.
Right.
You're putting that on me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what is that? Why
Yeah.
why were you not black?
Yeah.
Right.
You got some too good looking.
Plus the two of you together, trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how was it with the ladies at
Oh,
a
we
young
were
age?
so shy. Oh
You
my God.
were?
If I
Yeah,
like
I
if,
couldn't
if
even
you was
look
in
at
my
a woman.
class, if you was in my class, I'd be like,
She's looking at me. You see what Sage wearing today? Yeah, she's looking at me.
yeah. I was so
Super shy. We was like very, I try to put, I was very awkward. I wasn't a ladies' man. I was very quiet. I
We're
was very-
introverts because
Yeah.
we had each other. We had friends, but we was always together. We didn't really need anybody else, so we were very shy.
What an advantage that was.
Yeah, it has been.
Especially if you weren't black enough, right? At least you had each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess I could call myself biracial, but both my parents are black.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what would you say? Would you
Well, we
yes,
got,
I am?
We got our DNA. We know exact genetic makeup, our ancestry from all over the world. So we were 54% not African.
Yeah,
Rest is European, Scottish, Ireland. So,
yeah,
Don't you think most people are like that now?
Yeah.
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 I mean-
If you're black in this country, you're not all black. There's
Yeah.
no way in here.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you're also probably not straight from Africa. So when you say African American,
Right.
I don't even like that word, African American.
Yeah.
It makes
well,
It's
because
a
then we
big
need
lie.
to do it for every single person: Croatian American,
Yeah.
you know, Spanish American, Italian American,
yeah.
Irish
They
American.
they don't do it.
They don't.
They just call themselves
They're
American.
Just an American.
I'm just an American.
Did you see I posted a T-shirt on my Instagram account on 4th of July.
Yeah.
I'm getting like you. I was stirring the pot a little bit,
Yeah.
and it said, "I identify as American."
Right.
Oh,
And
man.
I saw it. I saw it on Instagram. I bought it on some shop on Instagram, and I was like, my daughter. I came downstairs. She was like, "No, Mom, do not do that. Don't wear that out, and do not post it." I was like, "I'm posting it."
Yeah.
And
That's a
she's
great
like, Why do you
message.
do that? Why? Because she, she's younger, and it's hard when it affects your kids. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
now I think they gave up on me. Now they're
Yeah,
just like, oh,
right.
she's out there now.
But I think that's such a great message. We're all Americans.
It's true.
You shouldn't be offended by that.
Tell me how you could be.
Yeah.
You know, people want and benefit from identity politics.
Right.
So no, I'm American, and I grew up on military bases around the world.
Yeah.
You know,
You've seen all walks of life all over the world.
when I lived in Belgium, we did not live on the American base. So we had Norwegians to the right, French to the left, Turkish people across the street, and none of the kids spoke each other's language. But we figured out how to play kickball in the street.
Yeah.
We figured out how to ride our bikes down to the candy store, and I got all the Belgian candy and chocolates. That's why I'm
Yeah.
a chocolate snob now, because
Yeah,
I
right.
lived in Belgium, and I'm like,
Right.
So kids figure stuff out. Adults are the ones that screw them up.
Right.
And
Exactly.
all I saw, and this is, I've been criticized and just for you're not black enough, you don't identify with I'm just me,
Yeah.
a mom.
What does that
and-
even mean, Sage? You're not black enough. I haven't came up with a great response yet because it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I'm like, you're actually being a racist by saying that.
Right.
Give me the list. Give me the criteria. Go ahead. Tell me what quantifies black enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that goalpost
Yeah.
keeps moving. But when I grew up, it was true diversity. And there were so many interracial marriages, by the way. All the kids looked all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all I knew is that I was the new kid and I wanted to find friends.
Yeah.
And then when another new kid came in, because that's what military kids do, you're in and out, you're just accepting to that kid too. And I had friends that looked like, or from all different all 7 continents, you know?
Right.
So I will not apologize for truly believing in that diversity because I've lived it and I know the benefits of it. I think it just makes us all better. And I'm so proud to be
I just want to be
American.
Keith. I want to be black. I want to be white. I want to be I just want to be Keith.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
all I really want. Growing up, we got a lot of, I would say, would you call it hate from black people?
Yeah.
Would you get a lot of hate from black people because of the way you look?
Not much when I was younger. Again, military. So
As you got
kids
older,
were
you
very
start to notice
accepting.
it.
It was definitely once I got older.
Yeah.
Once I got to college.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband was my very first boyfriend,
Oh, that's
and he's white.
Oh, wow.
Like I married my first. I know. So I was with him 7 years before we got married, and then 20 years married. So from 20 to 47, that's all I knew. And people were like, "Oh, well, you didn't date a white guy or black guy." And I was like, before I met him, I actually had this huge crush on this one football player I went to Indiana. I mean, and I saw him, and I ran the other way. I was nerdy, shy
Like
as
us.
well. Yeah, I was so sad. But I was super attracted to so many black guys. But guess what? Not one of those black guys that I knew would date a black girl. They only dated white girls. So I'm like,
That's
okay,
crazy, right?
I'm super interested in him, and he's like, I don't have time for you. I want the blonde hair, blue eye, white girl over here.
Right.
And then, okay, so then this guy, gave me a chance, and we fell in love. And because he's white, I'm a sellout. So, I can't. So you have to, and I would say this to younger people who deal with this, or even people more our age. You just have to let go of what others think. And I know it's easier said than done because I had to do that my whole life, and being in the spotlight on TV for 28 years, 16 at the Worldwide Leader, where people said stuff every single day. Every day, especially when social media came about. I had peers who said I was not black enough and wouldn't work with me. At ESPN, that was a documented story, and it happened 4 years ago, and that devastated me.
That's harassment.
100%. And I reported it, and I talked to the bosses, and they didn't do anything about it. So when a reporter found out about it, because one in particular, the woman, she was kind of bragging to people about it and talking about it out loud, and I got
I think I know you're talking about.
Yeah. She looks like you. Her skin color,
Yeah.
and she's
She's got light
black.
eyes too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think she does.
No.
Well, I'm thinking
she-
somebody else.
So I'm like, what does that mean? But so she was kind of bragging about it, and guess what? I've been there a long time. A lot of people talk, and it got out past me, where I had a reporter call me, and I had a decision to make.
Right.
And it was, do I just not take the call? Do I not talk about it? Or do I actually stand up? Because this had been going on for 100 years, right?
Right.
As in the industry. I talked to my agent at the time, and I was in tears because I'm like, when is this going to end? Like, when is there accountability for people who are making racist statements? And it's still racist, even if you have certain skin color. Racism is racism. It's not reverse racism. It's racism.
Yeah.
That term is stupid and shouldn't even exist.
Right.
So there was a moment in time where my agent and he said, I think this is your moment. And so I responded to the reporter and gave them a statement. And so that was 4 years ago. So that was kind of the beginning, probably, of the end, because that's when once you stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
They target you.
Who was that? Who was the
Elle Duncan
Duncan.
and Michael Eaves.
Now, Michael Eaves, did he have a show with Jamel Hill? His and hers?
No, that was Michael Smith.
Oh, it's Michael Smith.
Yeah.
I wonder, I sent you a clip. I used to watch ESPN all the time.
Yeah.
And it was his and hers.
Yeah.
And
You
this,
remember
That
that
was their
show?
podcast, Michael and Jamel. Yeah, it was good.
yeah,
You thought it was good?
I mean, at the time, it was. I mean, there were certain good moments. Yeah, I don't know what you're about to show.
I remember I was watching this. This is the first time I watched their show. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the clip. This was...
Oh.
Can you make it bigger, Joe?
What's up?
You do the post.
What's up?
Man, I ain't been up this early in a long time. Turned on the TV this morning, watching SportsCenter AM. And I just realized we living in a different world. I mean, they was doing all these highlights, talking to all these analysts. And I just realized, man, either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on his and hers. I mean, they doing the top 10. They ain't even have no shit on Hard in the Paint.
Like and Jamal, y'all got those DTMs? You know that doing too much countdown?
Man, get the f out my face and keep them damn babies out the street.
This shit crazy.
Yo, the state get Michigan?
I don't even know how I feel about it neither, man. These games, they just go on and on. Next thing you know, people gonna try to get us to stop quoting movies.
Man.
So y'all gotta change sometime. All right, cuz, I gotta go.
Hey, Jay. We still got 1 month left in the hood, man.
Oh, okay, I see. Y'all think y'all better than the rest of us. No more OG His and Hers podcast, because y'all do the 6 o'clock. I got something to say to both of y'all. Y'all don't do and you ever ain't gonna be.
Is that it?
Hell no, it ain't it. It's it when I say it's it. Don't get smart with me. I'll knock both y'all little asses in the middle of next week. Y'all must think I'm the maid around here. You go to coast, top 5. Done with y'all anyway.
I mean, I was watching ESPN and they showed that. I was like, I never watched this show again.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, what was he trying to? Was he trying to be funny or start a new acting career? I didn't know what that was about.
I said I would.
Was he trying to get more gangsters to watch that show? Drinking a 40-ounce?
It was so creepy how much she looked like Ice Cube. I couldn't look at her ever again. I was like, this is Ice Cube.
I am gonna leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, and I'm kidding when I say that. It's just like, what do you say?
Yeah.
I mean, that was back when Michael and Jamel were doing the 6 p.m. Sports Center. They had gone into that. And so then I mean, there's a lot there. Not one of those people is still there.
Yeah.
I left by choice later. You know what I mean?
What was that? I noticed a lot of people they got rid of. What was the major reason behind that? Was it budget cuts or was it not profitable?
layoffs.
Yeah.
And they had, I think the network had overspent in many ways for many, many years. So the first layoffs, I want to say 2014 and then 2017 and 2021, whatever. Like there's been a lot.
Yeah, it's still going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and COVID affected a lot too, and then they realized, we don't need as much to get it done. But that falls on the people who then have a much higher workload. Morale is still not great there, just like in many places in corporate America, many media networks, morale is terrible.
Especially because I remember y'all would be on TV all day.
During pandemic?
Yeah.
No, just in general before the pandemic. I remember you would be on TV all day and it looked like majority of that was live. So I'm sure y'all worked like
almost always
long
live,
hours.
Yeah, but there were a lot of different people doing different shows.
Yeah.
A lot of different shows. And I did many of them through the years, you know. The last 2.5 years were on the noon Eastern Sports Center, which was my favorite because my co-host and my team, and it's 2 live hours, and it's, you know, you gotta go. Everything that we said, we wrote ourselves. People weren't writing our stuff for us. Yeah. There were times when there were writers that would help if there was some breaking news that was happening. And while we're in a commercial break, they're doing this and we're trying to get information. It was a true team effort.
Right.
And I loved that because that's like sports. At a sports network, it was a true team. Yeah. We had a great team. I was on the 6 p.m. before that and asked off of that. Not a great situation, not a great team on that in general.
Yeah.
And, you know, people were like, you're crazy. Why would you ask off the prime time? I'm like, I don't care about ratings. If I'm not with the right people who are wanting to be teammates and not be competing with each other or not being supported behind the scenes, too many cooks in the kitchen, I was like, I'm good. I'm good. And I missed all of my kids. Not all, but a lot of their track meets and after school activities.
Oh, yeah.
You
Because
sacrificed
of my
a lot.
hours. I did. Again, I received a lot. I really did. And I want to be fair about that. But there are things that are more important. Once you realize that you're just a number and and dispensable as we all are.
Right.
Yes, we
You know,
are.
it does not matter who or what you do or how good you were. Like they will replace you. And so once you realize that, it's very healthy
Right.
because, you know, it doesn't matter that that was the primetime show I was on, that the ratings were higher, because my paycheck was the same. And I personally didn't change my work ethic based on the ratings of a show.
Right.
I was going to bring it no matter what every day. You can ask my producers. I drove them crazy at times,
Right.
you know, but no matter what, I'm going to bring it. That's my reputation. That's my credibility. That's my pride. My parents watching.
Right.
My dad, who went through a hell of a lot more than I ever did.
Right.
And my kids.
Right.
So I'm not going to change my work ethic based on which show I'm on.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm building a whole new show on YouTube, you know?
Right.
And I'm starting from scratch with that, with
Yeah.
a good team. But I'm doing a lot more than most people do when you just, you know, okay, you set up, you do a podcast, you talk, and you're out. No. I'm going through every single thing. I'm looking at every clip. I'm picking ins and outs, and it's the font, and I'm writing my own captions. Like, I'm doing all of it.
Wow.
More than I probably should. But that's the producer in me because I care.
Yeah.
And I know what I think makes it good based on being a consumer for so long, but being a producer too. So I just, work ethic is everything. And I think it comes across in the product and hopefully for viewers. You guys know that. You've worked your butt off for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Been on
No
YouTube
one
what,
gave you
16 years?
Yeah.
No one gave you that following.
Yeah.
Right.
No one did it. And I think that's kind of cool. Just like when I started in TV, I was on TV during the day and I was waiting tables at night.
Oh,
And
wow.
they would recognize me from TV or in South Bend, Indiana, and in Indianapolis, like decent sized markets. And so I'd be that girl out on the street. You know, it's winter, it's snowing, stay inside as I'm outside on the highway being an idiot, but that's what I had to do. And then I'd go home and I'd change clothes and take a quick nap maybe and then go wait tables till midnight. Because I was making ends meet. I was making $18,000 a year. Like, you know, car insurance payment, you know, rent, all of it. So like, I wasn't going to let anyone say she didn't, you know, that she's changed or she, you know, no, I'm doing that work. And I know what I did for all those years. And I just hope my kids,
They
you know,
see it. Yeah.
yeah, I think they do now,
Yeah.
but I will never let them be lazy. And if so,
Victimize
good luck.
themselves.
Yeah, good luck. Like, get out there. My daughter now, my oldest, is working at a horse show in Vermont. She rode horses for years and needs to make a little money and wants to keep riding. I'm like, listen, now you're 22. She has one more year of college. And I'm like, I am not paying for that anymore. So good luck. And listen, insurance agents always say, don't buy anything that floats and anything that eats.
Right.
No boats, no horses.
Yeah.
I bought a horse. It has changed my financial outlook, sadly.
Yeah.
But my daughter, anyway, she's out there and she's working at 5:30 a.m. and working all day in the dirt, in the horse shit, and all of it. And my son's working at a factory this summer in West Hartford, Connecticut, producing ball bearings. He gets there at 6 a.m. and he's off at 4 p.m. Like, go figure
That's
it out.
good.
Yeah.
Go to work. I did it, and look what happened. And I'm so grateful for it. But I also had a lot of people along the way that supported me. But many times, you guys, where I wanted to quit and run away and was so sad and so scared up to the end, frankly.
Right.
But, you know, I know I can always say that I did it honestly and with a lot of hard work, you know. No one did it for me.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story. You waited tables. Your dad, everything's just.
And like the horse thing, it sounds random, but when we lived in Belgium, I was so shy, like you guys, and the doctor was like, you need to like try horses because animals can be therapeutic, and especially with horses with little girls, and bring them out of their shell because they feel responsible for the animal. So I was 9 and they did it, and they took me out to the barn, and I never left. And that horse, and being around horses, and eventually getting my own horse, back when we moved back to the States, saved me.
Yeah.
And my mother went back to work in order to afford it. So my dad's an Army officer. My mother, you know, we're living in different countries. She couldn't have a career. We're always moving.
Right. Yeah.
But this time she knew she wanted to make sure I had that horse to keep my confidence up and show me hard work. So she went to work so I could have, you know, like there's sacrifices along the way. People see you up on that TV screen, see you guys and your success. Oh, okay. They forgot where they came. They forgot who they are.
Yeah.
You damn right I forgot who I was.
You're like, I hope so. But don't you love, I love the fact that like, I don't know, that the humble beginnings are everything.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what made us.
Yeah.
We came from nothing. A lot of times when people are born with everything, they don't understand what it took to get there. And
They don't
lose
appreciate
everything.
it.
They don't.
Like,
Yeah.
Our first house, we didn't have a bathroom. We had an outhouse.
Yeah.
In the second house.
Oh my gosh.
The second house. You can pull up my second house. Can you?
Man, don't pull that shit all up. I don't want to see
that house. I remember.
Where was it?
Martinsville, Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, NASCAR country.
Yeah, NASCAR. Yeah, I got NASCAR. And I remember every day when we get off of basketball practice, we'll be other kids in the car with the coach taking us home.
Yeah.
And every time we got dropped off, what? You live in that house?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So we can start having people drop us off like a block away from our house.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah, we had we were very poor. Our mom didn't work. It was just our dad. Then our dad, he died on our 14th birthday.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he had a terminal illness, so we seen it coming. But
that was given to him by the place he worked.
Yeah.
So
we start off with very
humble beginnings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have other siblings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have an older brother. He went to the Army, and I have an older sister.
You guys are the babies.
Yeah, we're the babies. Yeah. But everything worked out for us.
Yeah.
And so now, what does your house look like? Put
man.
that picture up.
Oh, you ought to see my house now.
Yeah.
They were like, you live in this house?
It's the same question, just with a different vibe behind it.
Different vibe, yeah.
So how proud are you guys of that, you know?
Very
Of
proud.
Like my immediate
turnaround.
family, my brothers, my sisters, like my wife, my kids. I mean, just like 15 years ago, we was in a very different place than we are now.
Yeah, YouTube is like the best invention because without YouTube, I wouldn't be here.
And it was therapeutic for us because we're so shy.
Yeah.
And when we turned the camera on the first time, like 15, 16 years ago, it felt like people were watching us.
Yeah.
Right? So that was like our therapy. And
Yeah.
it brought us out of
Interesting.
our shell. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that takes courage to even start that,
Yeah.
you know?
You got to have thick skin when you start reading
You
those
do.
comments.
See, I don't read the comments.
Yeah, I don't read them either.
I don't. I did.
You lose
my
brain
poor mother, you
cells
do.
reading it.
Well, my poor mother did for many years, and I'm
Oh.
like, Mom,
Yeah.
don't, because those are people with no life. The sane ones don't comment,
Right.
and but then they come up to you in airports and everything. I bet people stop you, right? It's like,
Yeah. Our fans do. I haven't ran into a nut yet.
that's what I mean. The fans do,
Yeah.
but there's always more positive than negative. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
The crazies are the only ones that take the time to go.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, get a life, you know?
Yeah.
But if you read it, you do take it in. Now,
Yeah.
there are sometimes where we should read it, and it is good to have feedback. And you don't have bosses. I always had bosses to make sure
And now you
Right.
don't have a boss.
You don't have a boss.
I don't, which is beautiful.
Now you can be
right?
like Trump.
Hey y'all, 3 red flags that show you might have poop stuck in your coat. Random stomach pains and abdominal cramps like you on your period or something.
Oh, man. Think I'm on my period.
Uncontrollable leakage and episodes of diarrhea.
Oh, man, that's horrible.
You got that mud butt.
Oh, God.
You straining and struggling and pushing when you're on the toilet. You gonna get hemorrhoids like that. Trust me, I know. If you're going through any of this, we got the solution for you. Optimal Human, all-in-one nutritional drink, has over 90 ingredients. And it can help you with all kinds of issues. All kinds. Especially if your gut and your digestive system is out of whack. Yeah, make your ass great again. Yeah. Y'all need to go to optimalhuman.com/Hodgetwins, and now they letting you try it for free.
Free.
For free. You just gotta pay for shipping. Yeah. Try Optimal Human for free today. Yeah.
I mean, just from my Laura Trump posts, like I only today posted the first video clip from it. The number of people who were like, "I used to love you and I'm out." I'm like, today.
That is so
I don't
sad.
get that. What do they have against Laura Trump?
Well, it's just her last name. But the point to me is, you can hate her all you want. You haven't. I guarantee you haven't listened to what she says on my show. Probably
course.
anywhere else. It's the last name.
Yeah.
But right there, that proves to me that you don't practice what you preach.
Right.
You preach diversity and tolerance and inclusion and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the most important one, which I've always said this, I've spoken about this publicly for 15 years, diversity of thought.
Yeah.
That's when you go quiet. And that's when you're like, I love you, Sage, I'm out. Or I hate you,
Right.
Sage, when you disappoint me. And
Yeah.
one of the comments, this guy that literally has followed me for 15, 20 years, and we communicate once a month. We have the same birthday. And today he's like, I loved you, I've supported you. But the fact that, and I tried to ignore your politics. I'm like, okay. He said, the fact that you have someone like this on your show, they should never be allowed on your show. I'm like, listen what you just said, Mr. Liberal.
Yeah.
Like, that is the antithesis of acceptance and tolerance and
Yeah.
liberal, you know?
These
Yeah.
people don't even know why they're mad at you or Laura Trump. It's just what's been fed to them.
And they believe it. But even if they believe it, that's their right. You should still not ever have it in your heart to say they don't belong on that
Yeah.
platform because I don't like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
You
trying
know?
to hold you accountable for their ignorance.
Correct.
Yeah, and when you
Well said.
that vitriol that you get, it's mostly, I'm assuming, is from black people.
I'd say about 80 to 85%.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that I will admit to you also, I've admitted a lot today. That's the most painful.
Yeah. It's sad to see people that you want to help be successful, but they.
Because I was their girl when I kept my mouth shut and I was just on ESPN doing my thing and being me,
yeah.
being different.
You were the face for them or the
Yeah.
black community.
and
Yeah.
and they uplifted me, and it was wonderful. Excuse me, wonderful until I give an opinion on this. Then wait a minute. Oh, she's not one of us. Do you know how many times people have said you are uninvited to the cookout, the barbecue?
That
I'm like,
is-
you think you're original, you
yeah.
guys? That's not even. That's so lame
What's
at
that?
this point.
Yeah, what's that one thing they said? Not all skin folk or kinfolk or something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
I get it's
That's dumb Negro vernacular. That's exactly what that is.
like when you look at the black community and like 95% of them vote for Democrats. There's no other demographic in this country that votes at a clip like that.
No.
They're such a monolith. It's like Latinos don't vote. I think they're like 60-40. But black people, it's like 95. In some places, it's like 98%. When it comes to
Yes.
election time, they vote Democrat. It's so...
Yes. It's actually crazy. And
It's-
once
it's
again,
nuts, yeah.
I told someone the other day I was in Atlanta doing this thing with Byron Donalds and Wesley Hunt. It was
Mm-hmm.
incredible. This cool thing we did, and I had them on my show.
Yeah, I saw
And they're just special, brilliant men. Men with capital letters, not boys. We need more men, right?
Right.
Right.
And it was, I said to somebody, I go, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. was a Republican, right? And he was like, what? Like, just do your homework. Now, Republicans then versus now are very different, sure. But again, let's just go basic. Tell me how your life is better under
Yeah.
Democrat policies over the last, I'll just do 3 years.
Yeah.
You want to keep going back, how about 60 years? How is it better for black people in America? It's not.
You're trying
So
to,
if you
they're
would
trying
like
to
to
replace them
continue-
with the Latinos.
Yes, but if you would like to continue to vote based on that, well then do not bitch and moan when everything continues.
Deserve
and it still looks
everything
the
you get.
same in these cities. Sorry, what they're doing, yes, with the Hispanic voters is gross, and that's why we are a mess at the border too. We all know why this is happening, and they're that's why good job to Texas governor, the Texas governor who's like, okay, what you're fine with all this here, fine, you try it.
Right.
Look at New York City right now.
Yeah.
65,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was calling them
Illegal
racist,
immigrants.
xenophobic for not wanting to have immigrants come.
Right.
Now you're trying to feel the pain that we're feeling. We started, hey, you need to take some of this burden from us because this is not the policies we support. This is what you believe in.
It's what you believe in. And now, and there's no accountability for it. And we need more
Yeah.
money. The things that you hear these politicians in New York and everywhere else saying, it just blows my mind. So we can't convince people to
Right.
take the time to educate themselves and do homework. I can't.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear it then because all I know is I don't care what color anyone is. I do not just make America great again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe that we were and are not currently, but still can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm biased because of my love based on my family background, where my father is a retired Army colonel.
Yeah.
two uncles also went to West Point. One of their sons went to West Point. And my dad's black brother, was there at the same damn time at West Point in the 1960s. That did not happen. And my grandfather was a Buffalo soldier. So I come from a long line of great black men who fought for our country. And so I'm not giving up.
Right.
I refuse to give up, but I'm not going to be in denial either and just go along with this BS that's happening right now.
What do you think about when Biden was at that, I think it was a black church, and he said, they're going to put us back in chains? I mean, when I hear that, it's like so infuriating to me that people fall for that.
I don't even get mad anymore because it's comical.
Yeah.
It's a joke, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It is.
That race card Democrats pull is disgusting.
Why is it so powerful against black people, though? It's like y'all don't see how they're actually pimping the black community.
Again, I don't know, but that's why, again, just let's everybody try that. Ask that question to somebody who's yelling at you, a black person who's yelling at you for being a Republican, a sellout, and Uncle Tom, all the things that we've all been called, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me one thing he's done. Tell me one thing Barack Obama did for the black community.
Yeah.
Black unemployment was lowest under Donald Trump. Nobody's given more to HBCUs than Donald Trump.
Yeah. I don't think it's nothing you can do to switch them. You got to have an ounce of integrity to listen, to take this information and use it.
Well, and just maturity.
Yeah.
Again, put your emotions away. I do think the most unique part, sadly, is that no other communities treat each other the way that the black community treats each other.
That is true.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
We are complicated.
Yeah, but you know what? This is not complicated. This
It is
part
not.
where you're attacking because you're not all on the same page.
Right.
We say, okay, like when we talk about the black vote, I pushed back on Wesley and Donald and a couple of other people recently with this, the black vote. What does that mean? That means that you think that by discussing this, that you're going to be representing all black people's votes, the black vote. Don't tell me what you think I need or want because we have the same skin color. They don't do that. What does the white vote mean?
Yeah.
What does the Asian vote mean?
Right.
Stop.
Right.
But we accept that. Well, black people want this and this and this. How are you speaking for me?
Yeah.
What I want might be different
Right.
from what you want, even if we're voting for the same person, actually. So why do we do it? But most importantly, the hate and the tearing down of each other.
Yeah.
I don't see that in other communities to the levels that we do in the black community if you don't go along with everything we're supposed to go along with. And if you are doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You know?
I lost a lot of black friends. I gentrified my own audience. But my audience has not really been, hasn't been from the moment.
We had a good rounded audience from the start,
Yeah.
but when we went political, it got really white.
Yeah.
You go to our comedy show, it looks like a Bruce Springsteen concert.
Does that upset you?
Nope.
And they
The
support
love
us.
I get, and when I go into a comedy show, they give us a standing ovation before we even tell one joke, and they give us another one before we leave. The love we get from white conservatives, I've never experienced that love from black liberals, black people in general. It's nothing but love.
They really
at our comedy show.
You can feel it like when you go out on stage.
You can cut it with a knife.
Yeah, you can feel the love for us when we perform for them. It's I can't even put it into words. It's like actually giving me chills just thinking about how much they support us.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though because I think it's the same thing in my comments, even more today. And I told you I don't usually read them, but at the beginning I'll be like, okay, fine, click off. It's of course you like this Sage because as long as you're getting love from all the white people,
I know,
then you're good. And it's like, is that what you think this is? That this is by having certain opinions and saying certain things, and speaking up for certain issues that are important to me. Yeah. Then that's me pandering to get white people to like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know
that's
the crazy
what they
thing?
say, and I'm like, this black people. That's what they say. I'm like, no. I just think that we're not monolithic. Like we all think differently and uniquely because we're all actually different human beings.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. I don't look at it like a black and white issue. I just look at it as right from wrong.
Yeah.
But it's people on the left that make everything about race because that's how they get the vote.
And then you have the politicians who like to keep us in our place. And when Joe Biden says that, or where was he speaking at that commencement?
Yeah. It was an HBCU, right?
Yes, it was an HBCU, and he's like,
and he made it about race again.
Yes, threatening and saying, what they want to do to you.
Yeah.
And it was cool because
He said they're killing black people in the streets. He
Yeah.
brings up trans people, how they're dying at alarming rates. And I'm like,
where? Show me.
I know.
Yeah.
Show me.
I know.
But I think the scariest part is that people just take what someone says and run with it.
Yeah.
Instead of doing your homework on your own. And maybe we disagree, but at least you have some facts to back it up.
I find it funny during the debate, they said Trump was the only one that was exaggerating. That's
I
what
know.
politicians do. They
I know.
exaggerate.
Well, the worst part, true, but the worst part, and I think I reposted this young woman who she had friends saying to her, why are you not mad at what Joe Biden said about not one U.S. service member has been killed on my watch?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, no, I'm not mad. You know, I was angry when I had to welcome my husband's coffin back here. You know, and it was just like, that's the most, can you imagine if Trump said that?
Yeah.
It's the most egregious thing to, I don't know, forget
Yeah.
how many people died on your watch.
Yeah.
Just don't say it. Just don't say anything.
And I remember when he was there at the coffins, he kept looking at his watch like he had to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
People was calling
Yes.
him out for that.
And then he was at a funeral and fell asleep. And
Yeah.
listen, at the end of the day, let's separate the fact that we think he's, you know, a terrible president.
Yeah.
And I've said this from day one. I've said this from the moment I interviewed him in March of 2021. Like, this is sad.
Yeah.
And what we're witnessing is very hard to watch. And I have a grandmother who died from Alzheimer's. I'm very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
And I've also said from that moment, shame on Jill Biden.
She's
Shame
gotta be-
on
I see her as
your
an
wife
evil woman to put her husband through that.
to allow it. Because there's a lot of ego there. There's a lot of pressure. Great. But that's your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it
She's supposed
reversed,
to
that's your
protect
husband. You take care. And when you see someone suffering, to allow him to still go out there. And that's number one. But the 1A is it shows that they never actually were in it for the American people. Because if you're for the American people, you see what's happening.
Yeah.
What's best for America right now. This
Right.
is not it. And when you have all your Democratic buddies saying, even George Clooney coming out now
Yeah.
and saying, you got to go. Like, if Hollywood people are, first of all, screw you. Where have you been all this time ignoring
Exactly.
it? So I have no
Yeah.
time. I'm not going to praise them. No time for that. But-
AOC still has his back. Alexandria Ocasio.
She would never, ever
Yeah.
admit.
Right.
You know, that would be an admission, and that would be
No integrity.
no integrity, and that would be accountability. And none of these people have it. So I will say I'm nervous for November.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think is going to happen?
I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally want to just get there. And I mean, there's still a chance they throw him in prison. There's I mean, who knows with the issues with elections the last time,
Yeah.
why should we trust that process? I don't trust that.
Yeah.
I fear for his safety.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things I'm afraid of. I don't know what the Democrats will pull. What they have proven is that they'll stop at nothing.
Right.
And that, to me, is the biggest concern because they got away with that crazy trial in New York City
Right.
with
Yeah.
the liberal judge and
That was
liberal
a
juries and
kangaroo
liberal
court.
prosecutor,
Yeah.
like everybody. It was just, you knew what was going to happen beforehand. And if that's the case, based on those charges, then are we not ignoring some of the reasons why you should at least be, you know, prosecuting Joe Biden as well? We're going to ignore all of that. So I just want to get there.
Just hope for the best.
But I worry at the same time, unapologetically proud to be American, proud of so many people who are doing stuff a lot harder than me every day,
Yeah.
fighting and working and trying to save us. But if Trump does not win as a country,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, I just look at the national security and, you know, whether it's China, North Korea, what's happening in Ukraine, the southern border, like we're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need, again, don't say his name. Plug your nose when you go to the ballot box, like whatever.
Yeah.
But you know who you need to vote for if we want to try to save this country. And if for no other reason, my dad said it as when we were kids. It's all about your track record. You can say what you want here, but what's your track record? What's your resume?
Right.
Resume sucks.
Hey, tell us about your podcast.
Where can people
Sage
find
Steele Show, YouTube, and wherever you find your podcasts. So I'm having a blast talking to a bunch of people.
You had some great guests on your show.
Thank you. I know one of my producers, Chuck LaBella, is the man, and he's he knows a ton of people, and then you know, I know some people, and we're just trying to get people in who aren't afraid to have a conversation. I will say this.
That's hard, right?
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
Very few liberals have said yes. We've gotten a lot of no's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you watch one, I am not combative. I am not trying to have a debate with anybody.
Yeah, you're great. Yeah.
I that's not my desire.
Just a conversation.
I want a
Yeah.
conversation. We might disagree here or there, but it's more. I mean, you can watch any of them. The proof is in the pudding. It's more about like I want to know about you as a person.
Yeah.
Like, what's your why?
Yeah.
Laura Trump and I started talking about that mom balance, and right now is the co-chair of the RNC, jumping on planes and going all over the place. And by the way, that woman, she's not up flying private. She was on Spirit Airlines recently.
What? Oh, she's
Laura
asking
Trump.
for it.
She's asking for it. But the point is, she needed to get somewhere and then get home to her baby. So what did she do? She got on Spirit Airlines. Like, she is down to earth. Like, it's legit. So my
That is
point
crazy. She's going to get hurt if she
She's gonna
goes
get
Spirit
hurt.
Airlines.
I know. I told her, I was like, Laura, there's other
that's
ones you
Laura
can do.
Trump on Spirit Airlines? Hell no.
I'm not saying she wants to make a habit of it. I'm saying that she will do what it takes to go do the speech, you know, help have this meeting, whatever it is, get back to her kiddos. Like, she is committed. My point is, we were talking about as a mom and the mom guilt. And she rode horses too, and what horses did for her. And on her wedding, where she fell off her horse and broke both wrists right before her wedding, so she had to like conceal them with her beautiful wedding gown as she's marrying a Trump, you know? And we talked about her relationship with her father and a moment when she didn't make the cheerleading team and how it changed her life. Like getting to know people. That's how it was with Dana White, who I absolutely love Dana White. Like, who is Dana as a person? Mayim Bialik, the actress, she's an incredible podcaster now. Blossom, Big Bang Theory. She hosted Jeopardy. Well known Mayim Bialik. Like, she and I could not be more different. And we had a beautiful conversation and about mental health. And she has a son who's on the spectrum and how that has affected her in her divorce and co-parenting. And I'm divorced. Like, I'm just so grateful to be able to have conversations with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that more people on the left will come, because I don't even hardly talk politics with most of these people. If Laura Trump, it's different, right?
Yeah.
And
You're going to find when you talk to a liberal, they have a firewall around them and they don't want you inside.
I know.
I've had Kennedy, he was great. He seemed like a genuine good person, but I had another guy.
He knows he's trying to reach out to all sides. So he's been smart.
Yeah, and I had one guy. It's like the more I pride is just Trump's bad, bad, bad. Biden's good, 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 and then there's no in between. Yeah,
It's just not using your brain.
Yeah,
but I mean, frankly, like, I hate to say that, but the only way we get better is with conversations with different people.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep trying. But then I even have people who are kind of conservative but are quiet about it, and they're like, "I love you, Sage. I can't come on." I'm like,
yeah, they still worried about their career.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I'm sorry. People need to grow a pair.
Right. Yeah.
Like, grow a pair of balls and just come have a conversation. These are grown men who are afraid to sit down with me. I'm like, I have nothing for you. Like, I love you. We'll still that, but stop it.
And these are black men.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's white men too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm saying for people who, you know, look at me.
Yeah.
Grow a pair.
Look at me. I'm still here.
Yeah, and I listen.
But you're living a lie, though.
But we know the risk.
Right.
I know the risk. What happens when you stand up? I've lost so much money, friends. I will not say I lost the career. I have a new chapter.
Right.
Yeah. You do. You just started your next one.
Yes, and just a little earlier than I thought. My deal with ESPN was going to be up in June of 24. So I left about a year early. And I'm so grateful, because there's no guarantees for tomorrow, you know?
Right.
I'll say this and then I'll shut up, because I just pray that, like, whether it's with my kids or anyone else, and I pray the same thing for you, that we just have to be true to ourselves. And there is real freedom in stepping out.
Right.
And pushing through that fear, because I was afraid for so long, like legitimate fear, especially, you know, as a single mom. Again, their dad's there, but he was a stay-at-home dad. He didn't work.
Right.
Still doesn't.
Right.
So I'm responsible for everything, for my 3 babies who aren't babies, 3 in college at the same time this year,
Right.
and my ex-husband, and a lot of things. So I should have probably stayed silent. and just kept getting that big check.
Right.
But at some point, I couldn't look myself in the mirror. And then I'm like, I suck because I'm not being a good example to my kids. I'm preaching and telling them to stay true to themselves, and it's okay to be different and stand tall and have the conversation. What was I doing hiding?
Right.
So then I'm a hypocrite too. So there's real freedom in stepping out, even if you don't have a backup plan. And I didn't.
Yeah.
But I also have a faith, and I think God's shown me so many times that he's got me even when I didn't think I deserved it, you know? But that's going to make me drink if I talk about that whole thing. You don't have wine for me, so. It's true. We just got to be true to ourselves. And you guys have been very inspirational to me and a lot of people because you've done it despite the backlash.
So we got you fired.
I hope you're proud of yourselves. Excuse me, I did not get fired. Fix that. I did not get fired.
Right.
I filed that lawsuit and I stood up.
Yeah.
And we settled, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good people there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad people there.
Yeah.
Your podcast is what, Bill Maher's media company?
So
or?
Bill Maher started a podcast network, and I was his first hire.
Oh, wow.
Which is, how about that?
Yeah.
Bill Maher of all people. When
He's for freedom of speech. He's like a true liberal. He's not progressive.
He's a classical liberal, exactly. And when I went on his show last September, he offered me, we're chit-chatting, and of course he's high as a kite all the time and drinking all the time.
He smokes a lot of weed?
He comes in high and he keeps smoking during the show. Absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You don't watch, apparently. It is,
I didn't notice that part.
It's hysterical. And halfway through, he said something. He's like, you need your own show. You should work with me. And I was like, haha. He's high. He won't remember. And he said it again. I was like, you know, you were saying this on air, right? So I have receipts. And he's like, absolutely. So we got done and we started talking right away. And that is the kind of person I want to be around, who we have very different views on 99% of things. Not the border. He thinks that's crazy. He thinks the vaccine mandate is crazy.
Right.
And what's the other thing?
Why would you mandate something that's temporary? Stupid.
Transgender sports, yes, that's the third thing.
That's the three key issues right there.
Those are three issues, and we all agree. Bill Maher agrees with us on that. Many other things, he does have Trump derangement syndrome completely. And even though those issues are the biggest, most important issues, he's still not going to vote for him. He'll still vote for Joe Biden. He's made that very clear, and that is nonsensical to me. But whatever, right? Like again, you can't change certain people, and I wouldn't try to change him. But the fact that he saw me as a broadcaster, as a journalist, I know what I'm doing. As a woman, as someone who's going to be a good teammate to his team.
That's something that's dying in this country.
Yes. So I'm grateful
Right.
for crazy Bill Maher. And I say that jokingly, right? I'm grateful because that's diversity of thought. That is when he chose to, he could have brought in a whole bunch of other people. And he
that's
chose
what
me.
made this country.
Yeah.
You know?
So yes, I'll take all the YouTube and podcast advice from you experts.
Oh, definitely.
You can fill me in, but I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a lot, and it's nice to not have to be afraid anymore.
Right.
If Americans continue to choose to live in fear, then we're going down faster than I thought.
Yeah. Yes.
So thank you for leading the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for bringing me to Vegas.
It's been a pleasure meeting
and a good excuse for me to come to Vegas. Of course, I'm going to go back to my hotel room tonight and be like, I'm afraid to go out. I'm afraid to go outside. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
only
You gotta be careful in
150
Vegas.
degrees this week.
Yeah, it's been so hot.
Like, it's one thing if Vegas people say it's hot.
Oh, it's been brutal.
This is another level.
The thing about Vegas, the summer is brutal, but after that, it's beautiful. out
Oh,
there.
I know. I used to live in Scottsdale. I was doing NBA just in Los Angeles. Didn't want to bring my kids to LA. So I just stayed in Arizona, and I would go like Thursday to Sunday to LA real quick. And I was like, fine, complain about the summer, leave.
Right.
Because the pools are all open and no one's there because it's so hot. But the other 8-9 months a year,
It's like California.
it is. We laugh at the East Coast where I live. That's why I'm going to Florida. And people, oh, it's too hot. It is hot there. But you know what? Again, the other 8 months,
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead and shovel that snow.
Yeah.
I'm
I got
out.
sick of snow.
I'm out.
so
My
sick of
back
snow.
hurts. My checking account was lighter because there was so much snow that I was like hundreds of dollars. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm with you, and I will never complain about the heat.
Yeah.
So come to Florida sometime, you guys.
Oh, we will.
I've been
My
there.
new home.
Yeah, I like Florida, but I don't like the Gators.
Well, don't go jump in a lake.
What if one just snatches me one day?
He's
seen
gonna
so
come
many
up. Yeah,
videos.
he's gonna come up when you're at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And come bite you. You're right. Come on. No, I mean you sound really soft right now.
I don't want to go out like that.
Death
row?
I just saw a video of a grandma who was walking her little dog.
Yeah, I saw
Did you
that.
see that? And he ate her. She's gone.
Yeah. There was a lady just. I was
But
like,
you can't be. You can't.
I'm
walk
not
in your
going
little,
out like that, Sage.
Well, stay away from the little lakes at the apartment complexes.
Is that
and-
big of a problem, though, really? The alligators?
How often do you hear about it? People getting eaten. Not that often. Stop.
One is too much.
I agree. Do you have one of those little Shih Tzu puppies that you're going to walk down near a lake in Florida? No.
No, I just it's like, what is it? What's up with the gators? And now I find out y'all
This
got
is nothing
anacondas.
new. Are you afraid of dogs too? Like you're sounding very stereotypical.
No, I
right
used
now.
to be. No. I'm not. I used to be.
I mean,
I'm cultured and I have like white friends and they got dogs and they bring them around. So.
but you still carry your 40 around with you though?
Mm-mm.
You've moved on from the 40s.
I don't drink.
Oh.
I never drank. My dad had a drinking problem.
Listen, don't get all serious on me.
Yeah.
I was just trying to go down all the stereotypical things. You're like
Right.
alligators and no.
I don't wear a wave cap. I don't sag my pants. Nah, don't do none of that.
Yeah, no, if you sag your pants, we can't be friends.
Yeah, that's
the thing is these kids, do they not know the history behind that? And
thug culture is from prisons.
yes, because that signified that you are
That you was available.
welcome.
You know what? I want to bring this up before I let you go.
is
Since
my
we get
fault.
on this topic, I think I don't believe that this country is systemically racist, hurting black people, but I think there's a system in this country that's making sure we stay at the bottom.
Well, we're doing that to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's like, when I bring that up, it's like our television, our music, everything, it's to like, put this narrative in black people's mind on how to think, how to live, everything.
I guess we need to go deeper on that. But my thing is, who's writing the rap lyrics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who's rapping? And then who's buying them? White kids just as much as black kids.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I go back to our time in the 90s when we were in high school and college, and we thought some of those lyrics were rough.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I would take those now.
Yeah,
Over
over this
any
stuff
of this
now.
stuff,
Yeah.
where it's next level disgusting and what they say about women and the N-word is just, I mean, it's just like a normal word, but the sexualization of all of it and the violence, white people aren't writing those lyrics.
Yeah.
Right.
And we think, oh, they're just lyrics. Well,
They call it music.
they're more than lyrics. And
Right.
people do internalize it, especially if they don't have the right guidance at home.
Yeah, but it's like a
So-
culture within the black community.
And I feel like it's targeting black women to act and dress
Like
a
Sexy
certain way.
Red. Look at Sexy Red. First, they targeted black men, and you see what that's done to the black community. I think it's been detrimental to the black community, black gangster rap. But now they're going after black women. You have Sexy Red being 10 times more ratchet than the guys have been.
Yeah.
And now they're going after black women.
But see, you say they, but is someone holding a gun to their head?
No,
Yeah.
but my point is this. Who's green lighting these projects? Who's green lighting this music?
All those music executives, yeah.
Yeah. And those are not black people. Like
white people,
okay,
Jewish people.
I would say this. They're Jewish, like a lot of them are, right? But my point is, will they ever greenlight this same music for like Jew rappers? Would they ever
I'm
greenlight
sorry, give
that
me a
music?
Jew rapper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Will these executives, these music executives, would they ever greenlight a Jewish rapper? I mean, black people not
And you
the
can
only
have a
people can rap.
hypothetical, I guess, but
Yeah.
right now, black people, I hope, begin to recognize
Yeah.
that this is only hurting the community. But I mean, that's a decision that person has to make,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
parent has to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think the
Yeah.
Jewish executives or the white executives, they're going to greenlight this music in the Jewish community or the white community because they see what it does to the black community.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I see.
but it's just not an issue. They're not touching it.
Right.
Like
They'll listen to a
the,
black.
the
yeah.
key is why is it accepted? And again, look at who goes to these concerts. Look at who
white
downloads
people. White
all of
kids,
it.
yeah.
It's white kids just as much as
Majority-
black kids. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
more white kids.
Yeah, my kids go to some of those concerts, you know, and I'm nervous for some of them because.
Right.
But then I forgot which one it was. You know, they showed up 2 hours late.
Yeah.
There wasn't even like an act before them. He just showed up whenever and
Yeah.
high as a kite, sing
Yeah.
half
Yeah.
the songs they were supposed to and leave. And there's no accountability. They keep, so I don't know. All I know is that the lyrics matter
Yeah.
and the toll that it's taking.
I think when you criticize them, like especially black conservatives, we criticize them and we try to help them acknowledge that this is a detriment to our communities and no one else. And then they come back and they call you names and say you're not black.
Yeah,
it's like
but-
it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, on top of that, though, it's like when the white kids go see the black rappers, it's an act for them, for the white kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you remove that black guy and let's say make it a Jewish rapper, they'll never let that happen because that will destroy over time the Jewish community.
Yeah.
That's the way I
but
see
the
it.
Jewish community
We'll call it out.
will call it out and is super strict. And you know, people rip on many Jews because oh, and you're this and you're that, and you always have to, every CEO and everything, and you're cheap and all those things. It's like you say what you want.
Right.
The proof is in the pudding.
Right.
As business executives, as leaders, and of course, it's not all of anything.
Right.
Or
Right.
one group.
Yeah.
I don't know. Once again,
Yeah.
there's certain things that are unique to our community.
They shouldn't be unique.
And no, but at the end of the day, like my dad wouldn't let me speak a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's grammatically correct.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And if not, we dropped and gave him 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
That military dad of mine was like, absolutely not. And you're not hanging out with bad kids. It didn't matter the color because it was all colors and races.
Right.
Because your track record matters.
Yeah, we had black fathers like your dad, people like that, calling this stuff out. And he called it out with you. He didn't let you listen to certain things or behave a certain way. And it's just like our community, our black men, this is non-existent.
And then there's some great ones that unfortunately get overshadowed. I did a really cool, I saw this this father-daughter on the beach in Fort Lauderdale where I live. And I was just doing my walk. I look and she's 6 years old, and it was the most beautiful little girl. And I just watched, and he's having her do like a workout. And she ends up, I went and stopped, and I was like, I'm sorry to be staring. Can I take a video? Like, I love this father-daughter thing. And ends up, she's like an AAU track star. She's 6 years old, and she's like a national champion, whatever. And he has her working out. So I did a whole interview on my iPhone and put it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
And the response was beautiful because it is beautiful.
Yeah.
He just happened to be a black father. And I know a lot of black fathers who do that.
Yeah.
Who is highlighting them, you know?
It's just a problem. It's a whole lot of them is not doing that.
True. And then there's a lot of white fathers too. But if we're talking about the black community, absolutely. But I really, my dad also made us, like, we practiced our handshake. You know?
Really?
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's a way to shake hands, and there's eye contact, and there's things to say. And again, I was really shy and uncomfortable. But get over it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you have to do
How
to
about that,
to be productive in society.
How about that they bring it up in the black community? They got to sit down with their kids and talk about how to act around cops. We never had that conversation. It was all common sense. I think it's all made up to fit a narrative.
Well, to fit the narrative of, the George Floyd stuff and all that happened.
Yeah.
Has there been racial profiling? Sure.
Of course.
Like, I believe it just happened to me last week in Connecticut. I'm literally 98% sure. And long story, I won't get into it now. But yes, it's going to happen. And it happens with Hispanics. It happens, depends on where you are too.
Yeah.
And it happens with white people from other blacks. They profile white police officers.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And then they profile black police officers for being police officers.
Yeah.
And calling them a sellout for being in their community.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's like, well, okay, then you wonder why these cops are saying I'm out.
Right.
I'm good. It's too dangerous. I don't need to take the abuse. And they've lowered the standards with a lot of the police force. It's just like in the military now. They've lowered the standards because people don't want to
and
do
that's
it. Well, why do they wanna
scary.
do it? That's very, very, very scary. So I don't know, but it's called accountability with all of this stuff.
Right.
And looking ourselves in the mirror and having tough conversations with ourselves and our spouses and our family members and our kids.
Yeah.
And if you aren't speeding or driving erratically, you probably won't get pulled over.
Yeah.
And the domino effect from there. Like, just do it the right way. And if you do get caught speeding, which I tend to have, I get pulled over a lot because I drive fast. And
But you got out a lot of
issues.
tickets too. with that smile and that hair of yours.
Yeah, see, you gave. That's what you did.
That's
It's
what you
like,
did.
You know what?
Was I speeding?
No, the
I
last
didn't
time.
know.
The last time I did it in May, I was like, sir, you are right. And I said, this car, she wants to go fast.
Yeah.
I can't stop her.
Right.
He was like, I go, look at her. He's like, it's a hot car. I was like, are you going to stop her?
Yeah.
I made a joke of the whole thing, and he's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But again, common sense.
Yeah.
Every time those lights go on behind me, it happens a lot.
Right.
I'm like, I get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a
respectful.
natural reaction.
Yeah, and so you be respectful and kind, and it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And if there's tell me, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I don't know. I'm 51, almost 52. I've lived in a lot of different places with a lot of different kinds of friends who've been pulled over. And when you just comply and do the right thing,
Right.
99% of the time, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah. You're gonna be okay.
By the way, are there bad cops? Of course.
Yeah.
Are there
course
bad
there-
teachers?
It's bad doctors.
It's bad.
There's
everything.
bad journalists out there.
It's a whole lot of bad
Yeah.
journalists. But that's what happens because, we're human. Humans are imperfect, right? Like, it's always going to happen. There's always,
Right.
but if you allow that 2% of the police force, the bad guys and women, to define all of the police, that's on you. And then what happens though? The shooting begins. What do? 911. What's taking so long?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
That's the
said
first
you-
people they call.
You said you don't want us. Like which you can't have it both
Both
ways.
ways.
Common sense. Stop using the race card. Hold people accountable when they do. I think there's ways to do that
Right.
professionally, and and I don't know. We just put our emotions aside. We cannot vote with our emotions.
Yeah.
Common sense. And if you think it's better somewhere else, all you Hollywood people, goodbye. Go. Good
Yeah.
luck.
See you later.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Sorry, I'm staying.
Yeah. And me too. But thank you, Sage. Thank
Yeah,
you
this
for
has been a
being-
great conversation. Thank you for taking the
Thank
time out
you.
for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, but I mean it. You guys have inspired me and a lot of people for a lot of years.
Well, I'm gonna give you some tips.
Okay. I'll write you a check, like, because I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say? What would you say? Sage Steele Show, YouTube,
Yeah, I can say.
Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Is
Yeah,
that the
I can
line?
say we're on YouTube. Hodgetwins. Just type it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
all
That's
we do.
easy.
Yeah.
Just Sage
Sage Steele
Steele.
Show. Type it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say it with as much authority.
Right.
I'll work on my delivery. Okay.
Right. Right.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
God bless.
Thank you.